Howdy folks, welcome back to another Bookmas. I can't believe I'm actually doing Bookmas because I have been so inconsistent this year. Well, like the middle of the year. And I have college classes that I'm working on. But we'll figure it out together. So today's video is my favorite fantasy books. Specifically more on the wintry side. But some of them aren't wintry as much. But it's all about the vibes, am I right? Okay, first one. What's it called? Caraval. The Caraval trilogy. I love this trilogy. Not my, top 3. But in my top 10 favorite fantasy series, this would be one of them. Especially the second book. This one, specifically, my favorite. This is about a magical, carnival. But it's, games at the same time. And you don't know what's real or fake. And you have to figure things out. This one this one is in the POV of Donatella, the younger sister, but the first book is in Scarlett's point of view. So you get both sisters, and it's amazing. It's a really good series. And Stephanie Garber just came out with this, which is Christmas themed, and I have really no idea what it's about, but isn't that beautiful? And the inside, beautiful. Beautiful. I'm not sure what this is exactly about, but I know it's Christmassy and it's about people in Caraval, so I'm excited to read this. And yeah, that one's really good. Next up, classic Harry Potter. This isn't specifically Christmas, but it's in the school year, and they always go through Christmas each book, I'm pretty sure, except the 7th, because that one's crazy. I don't know how much they talk about Christmas in each book, but I know it's in there. And it's all about the vibes. As I keep saying. Harry Potter, fantastic, most amazing series ever. Classic. And if you're worried about it being too, witchy and magic and spells, it's not so much on that. Harry is a wizard, and he goes to Hogwarts, the wizarding school for witchcraft and wizardry, whatever. But it's more about the adventures of Harry and his friends, Hermione and Ron, and taking down the bad guy. And yes, they do use magic to get there, but it's not super witchcraft, spells, potions, evil. It's more adventure. We're just gonna ignore that. It's more adventure-y and super fun. I love this series. So good. Easy to read too. Next up, we have the 4th book in the Lunar Chronicles, Winter. I haven't actually read this, but I've read the rest of the Lunar Chronicles. This is by far, I'm pretty sure, I could be wrong, the longest book in this series. And it's literally winter. So I know that's her name, but it's gotta be wintry, right? It's gotta be. The Lunar Chronicles is a sci-fi fairy tale retelling. The first book is Cinderella, which is Cinder. The second book is the Little Red Riding Hood. The third book is Rapunzel, and this is Snow White. Pretty good series. Loved the first 3 books, and I need to read that soon. This is the next book, The Wishing Game. It's my, first 5-star of this year, I'm pretty sure, and it's by Meg Schaefer. Loved this. Pretty short. It's mostly magical realism, so it's not technically fantasy, and it's also not technically wintry, but it's so cozy and so fun, and it's so good. It's about this woman who, I think she's, a teacher. I could be wrong. Lucy Hart, and she wants to adopt this kid, but she doesn't have enough money to support him, so on paper she's not allowed to. But then this author is writing a new kids book, but he's super famous and he hasn't written one for forever, so he brings a bunch of people to his island, his private island, mind you, and they have little competitions to see who will win this book and get a lot of money. And it's super good, cozy, and I love it. And there's a teeny smidge, the tiniest little teeny bit of romance. But, don't go in thinking there's a romance. Just saying. Next, we have Once Upon a Broken Heart. This trilogy is so good to me. I loved it so much. And where is it? It does come after Caraval, and there's spoilers in this book that'll spoil this book for you, well, this series for you a little bit, but you can read them separately, or you could read this one and not read this one, or you could read this one first. I did, in fact, read book 1 of Caraval and then all 3 of these and then went back to these 2, so I got some spoilers. But it was still good, and they were both still good even though I didn't have so much background. But they're just so good. You can read them separately if you don't want to commit to Caraval and this series. This series is so good. I would say it's not much better, but better than Caraval. So if you just don't want to commit to Caraval, just read this. It's fine. It's okay. But yeah, Evangeline Fox, she has like this color hair, if I'm being completely honest. It's like rose gold, I don't know. And she's apparently part of this prophecy. And Jack's the god of hearts. I don't know what he is actually. He tries to help her, kind of, in the most evil way. It's kind of an enemies to lovers, but don't go in expecting super romancy. So it's more fantasy, amazing vibes. So yeah. Next we have the Cruel Prince trilogy. Specifically, this one is my favorite. Just saying. Okay, I gotta have a disclaimer here. This is not a enemies to lovers romantasy. It is not. It's a political fantasy with a smidge of romance. Of enemies to lovers romance. But it's like so small, especially in this book. It's more so in these 2 books, but there's still barely there. It's like a lot going on and then a little bit of romance in the background. So, political fantasy. This book has a lot of world building, so if you are getting through it and it's like really slow, I recommend listening to the audiobook. That's what I did, and then I flew through these 2 books. They were fantastic. They're literally what got me into reading. So, this one's my favorite, then this one, but I'm gonna reread this and hopefully that changes. Yeah, this one has some sort of snow stuff going on, I'm pretty sure, so it's like wintry, snowing. And it's super good. And there's a part where it's like she gets hurt. And it's super good. So just read it. I so highly recommend audiobooks if it's slow. Because I understand how slow world building can be sometimes. And this is a kind of a chunky book. So listen to the audiobook. It's so helpful. And just these 3 books are so good. Especially if you like political fantasy. Just go in thinking it's a political fantasy. Don't expect there to be romance. Okay? I gotta tell you that now. Next up is Emily Wilde's Encyclopedia of Fairies. This is such a fun, cozy fantasy. And it's not like super, super cozy where like nothing happens. There is some action. And I didn't go into it knowing that. So I was so surprised and like happily surprised that there was some action going on. And it's like in the winter. So there's a lot of snow happening. She gets lost in snowstorm, kind of, and what's-his-face has to help her. This is literally so cute. Emily and what's-his-face? Wendell Bamblebee, their banter is literally adorable. I love it so much. It's so cute. You gotta read it. Really good. So it's Emily Wilde writing an encyclopedia of fairies. She goes to this new place trying to find fairies that most people can't like communicate with, and like she just knows so much about the fairies, and it's great. And lastly, I guess I should have said this with the others, but I was gonna say Prison Healer. That is not what this is. This is The Stolen Heir and The Prisoner's Throne. So The Stolen Heir is a sub-series, sequel, I don't know what it's called, of The Cruel Prince. These are in the same world, except these books are about Jude's younger brother, Oak, as a grown-up person, obviously. He's like 18, I think. So they are super good. This one is especially, like, they're both like wintry and cold and frosty, especially this one. This one takes place after something bad happens, and there's a lot of cold, snowy stuff going on. And these are super good. Just to get back into the world of The Cruel Prince, I loved it so much. And how did I not hear about this sooner? There's literally gonna be another book in this world in Carden's perspective, I think. I'm not sure if that's specifically like true, but there's going to be another book in this world with Carden and Jude. And I'm actually ecstatic. I don't know when it's coming out, but I'm so excited. But these two, fantastic. If you just want a fun fantasy in the real world, but also in the Fae world. Amazing trilogy. So good. I love these. I just love this whole world, and her Holly Black's writing, and Holly Jackson's, but she's different. Fantastic. So those are all of my winter-y / just great fantasy books for this Bookmas. I hope you enjoy, and I hope you are having fun with Bookmas. I hope you're enjoying Bookmas, and come back in 2 days for another Bookmas. Also, comment down below what your favorite of these were, or any fantasy recs that are in the winter, or just any fantasy you like. Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe, and come back for another Bookmas in 2 days. And I can't wait for Christmas. I'm so excited. Cheers!